Alright, hi everyone, my name is Mallory, this is my artist talk, and today I'm going to be talking about some of my inspirations, my processes, and I'm going to be sharing some of my work. Alright, just like anyone else, I grew up with a ton of animation. Here are some just to name a few. I also think it's important to mention some of today's adult animation, since adult animation as a whole has been on a rise in popularity, and even though adult animation has been around for decades, some people still think that animation is simply just a children's media, which is not true. Adult animation is able to capture adult themes in a way that live action is not able to, and I think that's really awesome. And here's some of my favorites. And since I am a 2D animator, I draw a lot of inspiration from mostly 2D media. All of these are just beautifully done visually and conceptually, and each have elements that I can get inspired from, whether it's the landscape, the fantasy, adventure, or sci-fi elements, or simply just their character or story tropes. Before I can start making any lengthy animations, I have to be able to understand the basics. So I'm going to share a reel, if you don't mind, of some of these fundamentals over here, and this is actually an example of rotoscoping. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about my process and how I go about starting animation. Typically, I'll design a character first and I'll tweak their appearance if I need to. Then I'll decide the story. Is it going to be modern, futuristic? What's the character's story? Do they have any internal, external struggles? What's the theme of the story? Will they have any friends or enemies? Then I'll decide the color scheme. I always make like a Pinterest board just with the general vibe of the story. And then I'll also make a Spotify playlist because music helps me visualize the story more. And then once I have all of these ideas put together, then I'm able to start storyboarding a scene. All right, and here's some of my original characters. Even though I haven't gotten around to animating all of them, I still have some ideas for them in the works. Okay, this is Verzana, or V for short. She's one of my oldest characters from about 2 or 3 years ago. Here's a turnaround, some art, her Pinterest board, and this is actually a 3D model I'm working on for one of my classes. Here are some comics featuring her and her little companion, which happens to also be my friend's character. And they're also inserted into the DC universe, so that's why the Joker is here. And I would like to eventually animate some of these scenes someday. And here's a little GIF I made of her. This is Jolene. This colorless drawing is actually a very early sketch of her. And these two are the latest drawings I have of her, and of course her Pinterest board. And this is a quick storyboard I made of her for class. It's her meeting her younger self in a different timeline, centuries into the future by time travel. Caleb is a newer character, so I don't have much art of her. But she does have a magic cat, and the cat sort of acts as a familiar, and they travel into the sewers together into an alternate universe, and they have some fun. Here's an unnamed character that I designed a while ago, and as much as I would like to animate her, she is just far too complex. But I do love cyberpunk. And last semester, I was actually able to make a neon sculpture of her. She's made out of clay, and then of course the neon glass back here. I kind of wanted to animate, demonstrate like the Akira slide. So that's why it's kind of off to the side like that. And then here's a little comic I made of her riding her motorcycle through the city. These characters are a little over a year old. They were for an assignment from my freshman year to animate the 7 vices. So here they are in humanized form. I had a lot of fun with these designs, even though I'm not super proud of how the animation turned out, but I'm going to show it on the next slide. Just going to stop it there. All right, and finally, I just wanted to share some of my initial notes and sketches from my final project last semester. Here on the left is just me writing down some notes and ideas of what I wanted my final project to look like. And here's a sketch of my character and the monster that she's going to encounter. All right, and here on the left is just a quick sketch of kind of the scene, basically like a dingy little bathroom. And then here on the right is a very rudimentary storyboard of how I wanted the story to go. And it did end up changing a little bit, which is okay. And I'm going to share it on the next slide. It does have a jump scare and some flashing, so just a warning. All right. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.